Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to the Tea Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. I am so extremely excited for this week's episode. I want to tell you all the nitty-gritty details about my experience at Role Models No Place Like tour concert in Utrecht that happened just a day and a half ago. I just couldn't wait to have a little bit of time to myself to press the record button and share this story with you. I think it's important to say that I'm still very much riding the wave of post-concert emotions that keeps on getting higher and higher, so bear with me. Also, for the past 10 days, I probably have like 50-ish hours of sleep in total, so I'm quite literally on the verge of hallucinations. So if today I sound a little bit unhinged, that's why. But let's get straight into it because I have a lot to tell you. Oh God. Maybe I should start by introducing you to the man of the hour. I know that, unfortunately, some of you probably haven't heard of him, which, honestly, get a grip of yourself, guys. You're fully missing out. I have been trying to get my friends into listening to his music, and I don't know if I'm good at PR. I don't think I am, because no matter how much I manipulate them, I haven't been able to convince a single one to fangirl with me, which is such a shame, because he's so fangirl overable. Because I don't gatekeep. His talent and his lyricism should be more widely appreciated. And you know I'm a man hater to my core, but he's literally just a girl, so that's why we love him. So, who is Role Model? AKA Tucker Pillsbury, t-dawg, saintlaurentcowboy, aka the baddest baddie of them all. He is an American singer and songwriter, and I'm pretty sure, or I would hope that you have heard at least his most popular songs, which are Blind, Deeply Still in Love, and Look at That Woman. And he opened for Gracie Abrams just up until a month ago. So yeah, that guy. So I discovered him roughly 5 years ago, I would say. And since then, he has been one of my favorite artists ever. I know I'll probably get slammed by some of you who are saying this, but I personally think that he's the best lyricist I have ever come across. And we all know that I'm a fangirl to my core, but there's something so unique to Tucker's lyrics. He conveys emotions in a really interesting way. And some of the topics he chooses to dedicate his songs to, like for example, he made a song that's called Strip Club Music. So I haven't heard those topics being explored through this lens. So to me, an avid overthinker, they just speak to me. I find them relatable. I find them clearly communicated, and I just resonate with them. I just hold space with the lyrics, for the lyrics, because they make me feel understood and seen. And I know if you aren't a fangirl and an extreme emotional overthinker, this all sounds too blown out of proportion. But music and lyrics are so extremely important to me, and I never brush them off easily. I think it is because of me writing poetry as well. I just put a lot of emphasis on words and how they make you feel and how they're used to express yourself. So yeah, I find lyrics really, really important, and his are just very unique. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that his music means so much to me, especially his debut album, which came out in 2022, which was peak loneliness time for me. I had just started adjusting to my reality abroad, and that album, RX, especially the song Can You Say the Same, I would stream on repeat during my 5 to 8 hour long walks. And when he toured that album, I unfortunately couldn't go to his Amsterdam concert because back then I was like broke. I had like 100 euros to my name, and I just had those 100 euros to survive the next 2 months with. So even though the tickets were affordable, I couldn't afford them back then. And also it got postponed because of COVID. And by the time it actually took place, I wasn't in the Netherlands anymore. So unfortunately, my RX era wasn't meant to be. And yeah, it sucks quite a lot, which is why I was so happy that he's touring his second album, Can't Say Anymore. And I knew I had to see him. I feel like this episode will sound like I'm being paid to say all of this, but I promise you I am not. That man doesn't know that I'm doing this. I would say he doesn't know I exist, but like, we'll get to this, don't worry. It's just, I would like to give flowers to the person I think deserves them. And yeah, when Kansas Anymore, like the No Place Like tour was announced, I knew I just had to see him. It was a bit difficult to secure my tickets because we know how that goes usually. And I don't think I felt such joy since I got my Harry Styles tickets like 2 years ago. And I would always and forever ride the small supporter. Amazing, Martina. And I would always and forever ride the support smaller artists wave. But my ticket was literally 25 euros. So I honestly don't know what to tell you. Like, support smaller artists, definitely. But kind of like don't raise the prices, please. I just love it when concerts are affordable. So this was my first concert since the entire Eras Tour Vienna experience. And I know that quite some time has passed, like 3.5 months. And I know that nothing actually happened, but I still find it a little bit triggering to be in the same space with a lot of people. And specifically, I thought concerts to be quite triggering. And in particular, when it comes to a place that I've never been to and a place that I'm totally unfamiliar with, because I had never before been to Utrecht. I've only been to the main station, but never actually been in the city itself, which honestly, I spent a few hours the day after the concert just wandering around, and it is one of my most favorite cities I've ever visited. It's so stunning, and thank God I went out early in the morning because I got to see the city without the crowds of people who live there, and it's stunning, absolutely stunning. But back to the concert. So overall, I think this is why I was quite anxious about the entire trip, because it was very much reminiscent of that Vienna Eras Tour experience, because it is something that I had been looking forward to for forever. It is something I spent a lot of time and effort to prepare for. I traveled far. So, a lot of boxes were ticked. However, I think there couldn't have been a more perfect concert for me to reintroduce myself to the concert culture. Not only because Role Model is one of my comfort artists, but because it was a small venue and the crowd was roughly 1,000 people. Which, don't get me wrong, a crowd of 1,000 people is not to be underestimated. However, compared to the 60,000 plus people that were supposed to be at the Eras Tour, that is relatively small, which is why I'm so extremely grateful that nothing bad happened during the concert. And even though this anxiety was in the back of my head for most of the duration of the concert, I did eventually ease into it and had like lots and lots of fun. But in the beginning, I was hyper aware of my surroundings, my potential exit points, potential strategies of escape, and so on and so forth. And actually, I was in the very back of the venue because I arrived quite late, and I'll explain why in a second, but that meant I had to, I was right next to the door, which at first I wasn't too keen on because I thought I wouldn't be able to see anything because, well, it's all standing places and my Balkan jeans compared to the Dutch ones are very much on the back foot when it comes to height. But the venue ended up being small enough for me to be able to see everything clearly, and the stage was very nicely elevated that the view was unobstructed from any point, which happens very rarely, I have to say. So shout out to that. And after I calmed down that I will indeed be able to see the show, I switched my perspective and decided not to look at being at the very back as something quote unquote sad, but as something that could ease my anxiety, because crowds make me really anxious. And actually, the way I chose to perceive the door afterwards was as some sort of security, as some sort of escape to safety if, God forbid, something were to happen. Again, extremely thankful that it was just a pleasant experience with no signs of any life-threatening situations. But hopefully in the future, I will get to live life freed from what could have happened in Vienna. But as for now, I think that was a pretty big step in my coping with it. But let's move on to the happier aspects. I actually want to explain to you what my outfit was and the lore behind it. You really need to be chronically online and totally in the loop when it comes to role model to be able to understand it. And in case you aren't, I will explain it to you in detail so that you can still appreciate it, because it is worth appreciating. Not to brag, but it's worth appreciating, because I think I created a really smart and funny outfit and I'm proud of myself for coming up with it. So basically, I had this idea for a t-shirt with so many references. My t-shirt was a t-shirt with a stamp of young Harry Styles wearing a t-shirt with role models, alter ego's face on it, with a text which is a reference to Chappell Roan referencing Sasha Colby. Okay, let's break it down. This year, People magazine had their annual Sexiest Men Alive competition, and role model was up against Harry Styles in one of the rounds. And he went on the internet to, run a campaign. And when he was advocating for people to vote for him, he was bringing up a really valid point, I would say. And that point was something along the lines of, do you think this will mean anything to Harry Styles? Do you think his publicist is even going to tell him? No, but it means everything to me. And unfortunately, he lost. And since then, he has been on this ironic, not so ironic, We Hate People magazine train. And at every single show, he does research, so to call it. And he's like, to the audience, how do you feel about People magazine? And you're supposed to boo. You are supposed to boo. If you don't boo People magazine, you don't belong at t-dawg's concert. Now, t-dawg, Saint Laurent Cowboy. Who is Saint Laurent Cowboy? He is role model's alter ego on TikTok, where he posts some ridiculous and quite questionable content. And the humor is so him. It is so dry. It is so subtle. And you're actually wondering, is this person joking or is he just stupid, which is my favorite type of humor. The one that's straight up so stupid that it's so much fun. So on my t-shirt, it was the face of young Harry Styles wearing an image taken from Saint Laurent Cowboy's TikTok, wearing the most ridiculous outfit known to humanity. Like, not even Carrie Bradshaw would wear this outfit. And I said what I said. And what the text said was, "You're sexiest man alive, sexiest man alive." So during her Coachella performance, Chappell Roan said that she's your favorite artist's favorite artist, which is a reference to Sasha Colby, a drag queen. I fully mispronounced her name. Sasha Colby, I meant. A drag queen's who said that she is your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen. And because Role Model has that type of humor, he posts on Instagram constantly that type of memes that are so niche and like require chronic onlineness. I just knew that this is what I had to do. This is the type of niche I had to go into. And to make the ensemble complete, I put on my DIY Harry Styles cardigan that I made for my Harry Styles 3-day marathon last year. So everything was so well thought out, if I can say so myself. What can I say? What if I told you that I'm a mastermind? And I'm just extremely proud of this design, and I just knew that if he saw it, he was going to laugh, which is all I've ever wanted. And what this resulted in, I'll tell you later. Don't worry. So on Wednesday, I was supposed to leave right after university to go to Utrecht, where I was staying with a friend who finally, in this crazy housing crisis, succeeded to get a place. It only with air quotations, took him months of homelessness and couch crashing at a friend's place, but he made it. And I'm so extremely proud of him, and I'm so extremely happy for him, because no one deserves it more than him. And he made such an amazing home out of this place that he got, and it's so cozy and so welcoming, and I just had such a comfortable experience there, which happens quite rarely because I'm a very anxious guest. I am an even more anxious host because I want everything to be up to par and my guests to feel comfortable. But when it comes to being a guest, I am very stressed because I don't want to impose. I don't want to bother. Bother you. I'm going to be bothered a lot. And I just started apologizing for even breathing within the vicinity of your home. And I really, really appreciate that he didn't for a single second make me feel like I was intruding, like I was a burden. So if you're listening, bestie, shout out. I had lots of fun at yours. Now, his place was great. Getting to his place was terrible. I had 2 lectures before I left for my train ride. And in normal circumstances, I would have the time to go home after my lectures, take a shower, have lunch, get ready, and then leave. But on Wednesday, it wasn't normal circumstances. A few days ago, one of the train stations you have to pass through to go to Utrecht from where I live fell apart. Like the floor fell into the ground or something. So, which, whenever they say it cannot get any worse, just know that the floor also can fall to the floor. So it can always get worse. Don't worry. Anyways, so now it was closed, like the train station was closed with far less trains running, and you would have to go and take like a reroute. And basically for every 5 trains that would normally run, there was just a single train. And they didn't add any additional train wagons, train cars to the trains, because why would they? No, they just said the trains are going to be short, lengthwise, crowded, and possibly full. So basically, Happy Hunger Games and may the odds be always in your favor. So I had to leave right after university and catch that one particular train. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to make it on time for the concert. And I kid you not, from my campus to the train station, it takes no more than 20 minutes on the bus. It took me an hour and I made it on the train with just a minute to spare. Basically, it was pouring because, well, Netherlands. But pouring in a way it hasn't poured in a while. And everyone was rushing to get on a bus. And because of this, 3 full buses passed, meaning that I couldn't get on any of them. And again, it was pouring. And as we know from last week's episode, I don't have an umbrella and I don't have a raincoat. But it was so terrible that even they wouldn't have saved me. So what I had to do was go to 3 different bus stops to try to catch a different bus line that would take me to the train station. And that was so extremely stressful and unnecessary. But I did end up making it. I had to run. So good luck fighting my waist. You won't be able to. But I feel that there's nothing more humbling than chasing public transport vehicles, especially when you're carrying a shitload of bags in your hands. But I made it. I made it on the train, which of course along the way ended up being late by 4 minutes, and I was supposed to have a 3-minute transfer, which if you do the math, I couldn't make. So I couldn't get on my next train, and fully drenched from the whole getting on the train experience, I just had to sit and wait for the next one for 40 minutes. So with everything added up, a trip that is usually no more than 2.5 hours ended up being 4. And then my friend got held up in the lab where he interns. So he was an hour late, which I again spent fully drenched at the Utrecht train station. So we ended up not having enough time to first go and drop off my stuff at his to, get dry and change. So I had to go soaked to the concert. Soaked, sticky, and smelly. And once the adrenaline of it all fizzles out, I'm not ruling out the opportunity of me getting violently sick. And my friend and I, we went to this one social center or whatever those things are called, public spaces. And the idea was for me to charge my phone because it was only at 50-ish%, and I would need it for the concert, of course. And I would need it to be able to get to my friend's place using GPS after the concert, which is the more important part. And it was dying at a rapid pace because of the cold. So it only made sense that I would charge it before going to the concert. And surprise, surprise, I couldn't. Apparently, it got so full with water that it simply refused to charge to protect it from exploding or whatever. So I started shaking it. I started blowing in it. I was using my friend's lunch napkin to try and dry it out, which don't do any of those things. They can actually make the situation way worse, but I didn't know that at that time. And yeah, as you can imagine, none of this helped. So I had to very sparsely use my phone all throughout the evening. Thankfully, I did have enough battery to film everything I wanted to film and to get safely to my friend's place, which again, the more important thing. Now, okay, this will sound ridiculous, but basically, I had a second phone with me. And I don't know why, but I thought, let's just get my old phone with me. My old phone that doesn't have a SIM card but still works. And, just in case. And if that doesn't prove to me that I should always listen to my intuition, I don't know what will. Because I could still connect to a Wi-Fi network and communicate with my friend. And what I ended up using the phone for was as a flashlight that I held up during every single song, swinging from side to side. Thankfully, again, it all worked out in the end, despite all odds. And my phone is working now. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Although this is the first time I'm recording since then, so I hope it didn't affect my audio too much. I played one of those sounds that is supposed to get the water out of your speaker, so hopefully it's fine. If not, rice it is. But let me tell you about the actual concert. His opener's name is Annika Bennett, and I had never heard of her before, but she was absolutely amazing. She has such a soft voice and is so pleasant to listen to. And her songs, so she did a couple of her songs, and she covered Sabrina Carpenter's Please, Please, Please. And she has such good lyrics. Especially, she performed this one song that's very female rage post-elections coded. And it was so captivating, and I'm hooked. I'm here to stay. What I really didn't like was when the people who were in the back next to me were simply talking over her while she was singing. I know you probably didn't go there for the opener. You went there naturally for the main act. But still, respect her, because that person is there to entertain you. That person is there to do something brave. She's being extremely vulnerable on stage and in her lyrics. So show her the appreciation by simply respecting her time and the effort she put into it, and don't talk over her. That's chuggy. But she was honestly great. Annika was great. And what really made an amazing impression on me was that after the concert, she stood at the merch table and simply talked to fans, and she was like, come hang out with me. And she was really funny as well, because as I mentioned, she covered Sabrina Carpenter's Please, Please, Please. And actually, she has opened for Sabrina Carpenter before. And she was like, oh my God, how funny that I'm opening for Sabrina Carpenter again. Because to add more to the lore of Role Model, he is Sabrina Carpenter. I'm just gonna say it. I've never seen them in the same room, so that's suspicious if you ask me. Although when he went up on stage, he introduced himself as sheeran. And after covering Espresso, the song his mom used to sing to him when he was little, he was like, we're Charlie Puth. But he's just a multifaceted queen. And I just love it when artists, apart from being up on stage to solely perform their music, they actually talk to the audience and connect with them. I feel like this is what creates a community and creates an extremely pleasant environment for both the artist and the fans, because it humanizes each side and it just creates lasting memories. Now, I won't lie to you, people were pushing me quite a lot, which I didn't necessarily appreciate. And they pushed me so much that at a certain point, I kid you not, I was half sat on the trash can because there was nowhere for me to go. And I am too afraid to tell them, hey, so I'm literally in the trash can. Can you scooch a little bit? But the vibes were so immaculate that I didn't even care. I couldn't have even cared if I was in a dumpster. Now, before the concert started, I was a little bit worried and I started dissociating. I don't know if it was because of my anxiety or, again, because of the fact that I've barely slept for the past 10 days. But I was finding it very difficult, especially after the long day I had had up until that point. I was finding it very difficult to stay connected to my environment and my reality. So I was really scared that I would black out and not be present in the moment and not experience fully the thing I had been looking forward to for years. But thankfully, when Tucker came out on stage, his energy was so captivating that I was immediately brought down back to earth. And not only is his stage presence so captivating because you can see the emotion and you can see that he's himself having fun performing, but that man's vocals are out of this world. And I'm not even questioning the fact that those were the best live vocals I have ever heard in my entire life. And as we've known, like, I've been to my fair share of concerts. I don't think I've ever heard such melodic, however you pronounce it. I don't think I've ever heard such melodic voice and such stable voice. He sang every single song live, and his band was absolutely amazing. They played everything live, everything. And I know this should be a given, but sometimes a lot of the backtracks are being used, which, no shame, like, that's totally fine, totally understandable. But I'm pretty sure he didn't use any backtracks, which, like, massive respect for that. Okay, I just checked my videos. He literally didn't use anything but his voice and the instruments that were there on stage. And I think that's so extremely impressive and raw. And it was so, so beautiful. Dare I even say it was the best concert I've ever been to? Because I feel like also the venue contributed to it. Because it was small and it just felt so intimate. Like, at times I felt like he was just serenading me, which is so delusional, I know. But it just felt so community-like with a you and so real. And because it's not a massive, flashy production, the focus was on the music and on the experience that comes with this music, the feelings that the music evokes. And I don't think I've ever experienced that before at a concert. I think I feel the need to mention this. It is the fact that I went to this concert by myself. And I've been to concerts by myself before. I've been to comedy shows by myself. I've traveled alone. I've moved countries alone. I've been to the cinema alone. I've been to restaurants alone. And I'm not scared of being places by myself. But this time, at first, I felt quite anxious because I hadn't done this, like being alone in such social setting. I hadn't done this in a while. And I had forgotten how to do it properly. It's not like there's a proper way to do it, but like how to do it without focusing on the I am alone part and not letting that aspect determine how you experience the event you're going to. And I won't lie to you, at first I was quite anxious because I thought everybody knew that I'm alone and everybody cared apparently in my head and everybody was pitying me, and I just apparently in my head was like, I need to leave. And I told myself, I don't know anybody here. And this is when I decided to just flip the switch and change my perspective. I thought about it and I was like, wait, I don't know anybody here. So why should I focus on them and not on me? Why should I care about what they think? First of all, No one literally gave a single flying shite about me. No one cared that I was alone. No one probably noticed that I was alone. No one probably noticed me. No one's night was affected by my solitude. And I don't understand why I put so much pressure on myself for that brief but quite intense, if you ask me, moment. Until I actually clocked myself and was like, wait, this is what you love doing because it is so extremely freeing. You love being by yourself. Because there is this social concept that we need to be with people in certain environments and settings, and that's just outdated. It's not true. You can totally go to a concert by yourself and have the best time of your life because nobody's there to see you. People didn't buy the ticket to go and see if I went to the concert alone. People went there to see the artists perform. The focus is not on me, so I should not be putting it on me. I should not be projecting such intrusive thoughts on myself, thinking that they're commonly shared among every single person I'm surrounded by. I should just let myself enjoy my time. Because I personally wouldn't care if someone went to a concert alone, so why should I think that someone else would care? And why should I let this thought take away from or contribute to my experience? Why should I let it define my experience? My experience was mine. And this is actually something I am extremely grateful for because, as I already mentioned, this person's music means so much to me. And the fact that I got to experience it by myself means that this experience is solely mine. So I'm grateful that I went there by myself and I wouldn't want it any other way. And I'm happy that in the moment I could recognize the irrationality of my thoughts, and I'm happy that I had the mental capacity to stop them from damaging the fulfillment of my dream. One of my favorite moments from the concert was when he first came out and was like, "Hello, Utrecht." But he pronounced it as Utrecht. And the Dutchies got so triggered, which I can understand why. Because I hate it when someone says Sophia instead of Sophia. It's Sophia. Come on. It's not that difficult. So they started screaming, "Ooh," and shaping their fingers to show the U letter. And he was like, "Are you booing me?" And he was scared shitless. And people were just trying to tell him how to pronounce Utrecht correctly. And this kept on happening a lot during the show. So it kind of became like a running inside joke, and he started playing along with it, which props to him. But he was really, really concerned that we were literally booing him the second he stepped foot on stage, which I can imagine can be quite stressful because you're out there trying to entertain people. You're out there trying to put on a show to give them their money's worth. And the second they see your face and hear the first sentence you say, they start making sounds as if they're booing you off stage. Yeah, I can see how that can be a little bit intimidating because it's you against 1,000. But overall, I just had an extremely fun experience. And looking back at my videos that I made, they're simply atrocious. And let's blame it on the water that was inside of my phone, not on me screaming my lungs out as if there's no tomorrow. It's like in certain clips, I am screaming bloody murder. And I want to apologize to the people around me, but also you pushed me on top of the trash, so I guess we're even. All in all, that was everything I wanted and more, and the time simply just flew by because I was having so much fun, and this concert will always and forever and forever and forever and forever and more have a special place in my heart, and I will always and forever and forevermore hold space with the lyrics of Gravity and with the No Place Like Torture. Now, if you think, this is where I'll tell you, oh, have fun, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, blah, blah. No, this is not where we end. Think again. Sit back down. So, after the concert, I went up to the barricade to take pictures with the instruments in the background, because they're branded instruments. And I asked these two girls to take my picture, and thank God they put in the effort they did, because the people I had asked before, I was like, girl, have you seen a phone? Have you held a phone before? But those two girls, they put in a lot of effort. They took great pictures, and they were the only people I actually met at the concert and talked to. And they were so extremely kind. And one of them had the most impressive concert list I have ever seen in my entire life. And I mean like list. She created a list of like 30 plus concerts, which were chronologically organized and emoji coded. And I was so extremely impressed. The dedication. So I just decided to wait with them because one of them wanted to buy merch. And we talked, and they were just so extremely sweet and lovely. And they were just the perfect way for me to end my experience at that concert. And one guy overheard our conversation, and he tried to like chime in, but he was so drunk that he was kind of annoying. I'm sorry, but let's not focus on that. So one of the girls, she bought her merch. We went to the train station. They went to their city, and I headed to my friend's place. And after that, I just caught the tram, went to my friend's place, and even though I had slept for 5 hours-ish and had had an extremely long day, I was so pumped with adrenaline that I yapped his ear off for the next 4 hours. And poor thing, he had to wake up at 8 for an internship, and I didn't shut up until 2:30. But I just couldn't not feel exhilarated after the evening I had just had. Honestly, everything was so perfect. Everything went better than I could have ever imagined. And I'm so extremely thankful that I got to experience this entire spectrum of emotions. And it's a day I'll always and forever remember. Concerts oftentimes serve as reminders of how beautiful it is to be alive, of how connected you can feel to strangers through this one thing you both like and appreciate. So in moments like this, I'm extremely grateful about everything and anything and everyone and anyone. And if you've experienced this thing, you definitely know what I'm talking about, but the day post-concert is such a weird experience, especially if you've traveled somewhere for the concert and the day after you're going back home. It is so interesting and purely weird at the same time, because you're still riding the wave from the exhilaration you felt the night before, but you're supposed to be going back to your routine and act as if nothing happened and just continue with life as if you didn't just fulfill a dream of yours. Let me tell you that I had to physically force myself to study because, help, I'm still at the restaurant. Like, I could not move past the night I had just had. And as I was finally starting to calm down, I had another reason to fully freak the freak out. So a couple of hours after I came home from the trip, I got ready to go out with friends. And as I'm walking to our meeting point, I receive a DM from one of the girls I had met the night before, after the concert ended. And she sends me a picture of me, and I'm just confused at first. And then I see she sent me not a picture of me, she sent me someone's post. And then I see who posted it. Remember how I said that I'm not going to say he doesn't know I exist? Yeah, the official Instagram account of the tour posted me on their grid. And you know what? I'm not ashamed. I completely started freaking out. I started jumping up and down in the middle of the street. I started screaming. I started running. I immediately called my parents because I was like, this is I made it moment. Like, I have peaked in life. I will die happy. Like, what is the point of me to continue living? Like, I now have a legacy in this life. So I called them, and yeah, I'm like just jumping, screaming, crying, throwing up. And the people on the street were so visibly and understandably creeped out because, well, that's not the behavior you would expect on a regular Thursday evening. And especially because I'm screaming in a different language. And I know that this is so silly to let this make me that happy, but I just couldn't hold it in. But it's just like I put a lot of effort, horniness, and chronic onlineness into this. And the fact that the person who I kept in mind when I was creating it saw it and was like, what the fuck? I'm like, bruh, if you know, you know. It just like makes me happy. And the people in the comments were so sweet, and I just cannot wrap my mind around it. Like, t-dawg, saintlaurentcowboy, he saw my story because I had posted that picture on my story, and because I thought it was funny, and I tagged him, and so he, or like his gay media intern, screenshotted it and posted it. But you know what I mean. I was just so excited because I never expected such a reaction, and I couldn't have imagined a better appreciation for the effort I had put into me going to that concert. So basically, I am famous now, a celebrity, if you will, and I will never shut up about this. And this is totally my new personality trait, and it is going on my resume. I just started discovering LinkedIn. That will be my description. So, as you can tell, it's been exciting 48 hours in my life. And I am going to ride that high for as long as I can. So to Tucker and everyone involved in the No Place Like tour, thank you. Your efforts do not go unnoticed. Thank you for gifting me with such an incredible experience and memories that I will always and forever cherish. I'm like, bruh, you guys slay. Well, my throat is starting to hurt because I, again, screamed my lungs out. I don't know how he does it on stage every single day. Like, how does he not lose his voice? Anyways, well, that was pretty much it, guys. All I can say is, go stream Kansas anymore. Like, I don't know. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I most definitely did. Stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye.